Yep, that was thunder. That's what happens when you get the right microphone. You hear everything. All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday to all. I'm coming to y'all from a slightly rainy session today, so y'all might hear some thunder. But happy Wednesday. It's hump day. Welcome to Engineering the Markets. My name is Jared, and it's May 25th, 2022. So let's look at where we sit today. Obviously, S&P had a decent session in regards to a bullish recovery. There's a couple of short-term plays in the S&P in regards to some structural reversal. We have this nice morning down session. We come into an area of chop, and then we form that classic head and shoulder structure. We start to break out, and then of course back testing it for continuation. That actually led the S&P to make a new high of day, something that maybe wasn't too expected on the session, but was slightly defined in regards to this particular reversal. So the market was able to get a little bit of a rally on yesterday's session, but as you can see, nothing really of note in the big picture. We're looking at a fairly compressed trading area for the week. And one thing to pay attention to today is which side is starting to win this battle. You could argue that our main resistance continues to be our downtrending resistance line. But if we look at where the market reversed yesterday, the fact that we are attempting to hold gives us the idea that there might also be a rising trend line. And that's going to be your classic compression of price activity, of which one of these levels is likely to break once the price is too compressed or we get a catalyst throughout the week. So the market overall has that structure, and I think a lot of us are watching the NASDAQ for additional confirmation. For example, while this trend line is not necessarily the largest well-defined trend line, you could almost anchor it here, but you'll notice that there's a little bit of offset in regards to price reaction. The NASDAQ is going to need to be probably the driver of any sort of bullish rally in the market. The reason being is we have had some short-term strength in certain sectors like financials, which are actually holding up based on their relative lows from last Friday. And our other major sector in the S&P, healthcare, actually doesn't look too bad. We've actually bottomed out about a week and a half ago, and we've been holding ever since. So short term, what's causing most of the downside in the market? Well, it's going to be your tech, your consumer discretionary, which did print a fresh fear-based low in its downtrend, mostly caused by some of the larger holdings of consumer discretionary. And then, of course, XLC, which continues to be a weaker sector and contains Meta, which did have a reactionary event from Snapchat reporting preliminary earnings, along with Google or Google seeing that weakness as well. So a lot of our larger market cap sectors continue to be the drag in this market. If we're going to see a rally, it's likely going to need to require these to be holding some technical area of support. And then, of course, if they do go bullish in any sense, we would need something quite dramatic. One thing to pay attention to is what the bond market is saying to us right now. So a proxy product like TLT, and even if I add our moving averages here, you'll start to see that we're getting above areas where the market tends to reject. So we have rejection against the 20. Here we actually didn't even make it before making a fresh low. And then, of course, our most recent reaction here, you could assume that the downtrend might continue, but the size of this is actually starting to hold. And we're seeing some tests and breaches above this particular pullback sell swing. Now, doesn't mean that this market is necessarily ready to rally outright, but we are seeing a bit of a fade to the upside. And what this is doing is it's reducing our interest rate on the 10-year and our 30-year back down to levels we saw a couple of weeks prior. As you know, the TNX and the TYX are at core resistance levels, and therefore this drawdown after a very explosive rally for a couple of months is probably well needed. So if we see interest rates come back down, the question then remains, will we see growth start to perform? One thing you can maybe monitor for that is something that is a bit synonymous with growth, and that's going to be some of the ARK ETFs. It doesn't necessarily have to be the innovation one. There can be some monitoring of the other offerings like the genetics. You could be looking at something like an XBI for relative risk on performance. These would all be sectors that would have to showcase a period of strength in order for there to be some confidence in growth related or just higher risk type names. As you can see though, most of these have hit some sort of high volume low as of last week. And the question is, are we going to change trends, or is this simply just another high volume relative low before another downtrend sell-off? Obviously, the high volumes are good to get the pullback. The question then remains, are we going to get something more impactful like a trend change? And you can see that on the weekly much more clearly. Weekly would be something like a bounce back to our 20 period. And that's something that we're kind of eyeballing for the next couple of weeks. So as of today, however, let's look and see what's in play. Worth mentioning that Nat Gas did make a new print towards the highs. This has been quite a volatile energy market, or energy focused market, and Nat Gas has participated outright. We were actually looking to see if this was going to form head and shoulder structure, maybe seeing some rejection here, but that was quickly negated, and now we're already testing our swing highs. So the uptrend does continue in Nat Gas. It is a bit extended, but overextension doesn't mean that it's ready to sell. You can see that the past 3 months have been nothing but continuation for natural gas. You compare that with crude, which is a little bit more paused in its uptrend. We do still have our our relative high back in March. We have our rising channel. We're getting a little bit of violation of the channel near the highs. You'll notice that we've attached to the 20 more recently. And with what's going on in Nat Gas, I would expect this bullish channel to actually break bullish before seeing another sell swing or another pullback. So the structure is starting to break apart. We'll leave it off for now. We'll see how it forms over the next couple of days. But I would say that energy today is something to maybe focus on, specifically with Nat Gas, but maybe also across the board. You'll get some general performance in the energy sector. Keep in mind that XLE is still our lead bull sector. Relative strength across the market, actually making new relative highs as of the past couple of days. And if you're just looking at where we're breaking out from, this was a big price level to breach. Only took it about a month or so of consolidation to do so. So continue to kind of trade towards the bullish side on energy whenever the asset class is in play. And that's going to often be very good swing/day trade candidates, especially when you get new breaches of highs or just some negation of a bullish or of a bearish structure. So dollar, a little bit of a bounce. Obviously interesting to see this decline. We're going to keep an eye on this and see how they form a possible trend reversal. I would like to see maybe a drawback into areas of resistance. Usually what I'm looking for is when you start to see the trend start to break apart, you'll get rejection at previous highs, you'll sell off, and then you'll form what is essentially a new downtrend in some time frame. That's going to need to evolve a little bit, but ideally the 200 being rejected would be a clear signal that the dollar is ready to consolidate and basically come back down. So, what are some names on deck today? Well, we've got a couple of earnings. Like I mentioned last week, earnings season is starting to come off quite a bit. We don't have as many names to look at, along with the names not being as impactful. So we'll look at these from today's performance. So Dick's Sporting Goods was pricing in about a $10 expected move. We saw the reaction before the show. We got down to about 57. And as you can see, we're already back inside the expected move. So once again, expected move is pretty powerful, and a lot of people kind of play towards those price levels. Therefore, the market likes to transact in those ranges. It's kind of a circle or a horse leading the cart to water. So let's see where our open interest lies. We definitely have some at 60, nothing really on the call side. So it's mostly going to be on your put side. And then you have maybe a cluster at about 64, 65. So definitely looking to play this one maybe in between these price ranges if it moves cleanly today. We also had stocks like Intuit, a little bit of a higher price stock. Not going to be the best of traders intraday, but from an option market perspective, it was participated in. And as you can see, we're actually not really moving too much, but we do have a wide expected move. So we'll see if this one actually does want to have a directional bias today, or will it be a little choppy, kind of centered around its previous close. And then looking ahead, we have Nvidia. So Nvidia, of course, big focus in regards to semiconductors. You want to be thinking, how does this weigh in things like the technology sector? As I pull out the weightings here, you'll notice that something like an XLK, which represents just pure technology companies, that's going to be about 3.25%. Not as big of a performer as your credit card companies, your Visa and your MasterCard, and then nowhere near the size of Apple and Microsoft, but still way up there. And actually one of our bigger semis, you'll see something like a Broadcom actually sits another percentage below in weighting, and much more significant than AMD. It's about double the relative market cap. So definitely one to watch. It's our biggest one to kind of monitor for semis. What does the market say that Nvidia will do? We're looking at about a $17 expected move. So no matter what Nvidia moves towards, we're expecting about that much price movement for the rest of the week. And if the market agrees with that, where are people placing the risk? It's a very good probability that we're going to stay somewhere within that range. If I look at where we are today, about 160 maybe at open right now. Let's do this right. I could draw a straight line. About 160. So a 145 anywhere to 140, that puts us well within our expected move. You'll notice that a lot of the put open interest kind of sits between those prices, tends to drop off until we get to another $5 level. And then there's that psychological price of 150. Now this one's going to be inside expected move. So understand that even though you have trading going on the borders of your expected move, you could easily stay within. especially if the reaction itself is mild or maybe the numbers are in line. You want to do that to the top side as well. And what you'll notice here is there's actually more trading going on top side, at least in the short term series. 175 would be your $15 border area. But even calling out something like 190, look how heavy this is relative to other prices. Definitely something to monitor here because there is a bit of a bullish lean net in regards to just where larger open interest lies. If I were to aggregate these numbers, you'd probably see more of a bullish lean. And this is a sector that really hasn't been a bull candidate for quite a while. So quite an interesting analysis from the option market. Understand that if we were to open anywhere near 190, we'd be looking at a weekly breakout. We would have a low, basically a higher low, depending on what happens today. And then, of course, trying to break this swing high, get above where our trading has been over the past 2 weeks. So, putting that thesis together, looking at what AMD did into its earnings, we had earnings on this day. Looks like that was 5.3. So you're looking at this day into earnings, and then the next session, a rally into a gap area, and then a rejection. So, nothing really too crazy from AMD's earnings. The question is, will Nvidia do anything similar, or will it be an outlier? And of course, the option market says maybe a bullish outlier if we were to see a break. So obviously, time will tell. We'll look and see what happens to that later today. Let's see. Don't really have too much else in regards to analysis. One thing I am looking at starting this week is what does our overall market breadth look like relative to what we've been seeing. And this ETF right here, the RSP, is a good way to get a very simple idea of what's going on. It's not going to give you the full picture, but if the entire market is experiencing weakness, the RSP will see sort of a relative decline. If there are individual sectors showing weakness and some showing strength, the RSP tends to be more of a balanced or possibly a choppy performance. And of course, if everything's going bullish, the opposite is true. RSP will actually sometimes outperform. So looking at this, we've got our major trading range that we've kind of lost. More recently, we started to see some relative breadth issues in the market, and that's because from an equal weighted perspective, lots of sectors have sold off at the same time, leading this particular holding to actually see similar types of weakness. And that mostly started around the same time as the S&P hit about 450. Looking at this now, this is starting to structure itself similar to the S&P, where we have that false low. We had a bit of a bullish day yesterday. We had a little bit of a bottoming tail trying to hold some previous performance. And, short term, this is looking to maybe stabilize. Doesn't necessarily mean bullish until we maybe get back above into our trading range. But I am seeing whether the market is rewarding certain sectors more than others. So we talk about the idea of defensive names. Utilities is definitely getting rewarded short term because it's holding up better and it's having better performance on more bullish type days. We're looking at healthcare, which once again is not necessarily straight bullish, but it's holding where it's supposed to. It's holding relative support. It's getting that bounce, and it's actually not seeing the same declines as the rest of the market. And then unfortunately, staples, which a lot of people kind of clarify as defensive, was seeing some of the hit from retail. So whether you're looking at an XRT for retail ETF specific, This has been in just a very clear downtrend, hitting the 200 weekly for the first time in quite a while. Or you're looking at Staples itself back at the lower bounds of its trading channel and actually breaching and possibly back testing depending on what happens next. Very notable change in sentiment here. This is unfortunately a really bad signal for this sector moving forward, not because it can't necessarily recover, but the size of this sell-off means that you're basically fighting the sentiment change. It's unlikely for that to recover immediately. So trying to figure out what sectors are getting rewarded, which sectors may be postured for a rally moving forward, getting a little bit on the bottom floor if the market were to rally, along with just staying away or shorting weaker sectors until they improve. As I mentioned, XLC, XLV, XLY for discretionaries, and then XLK. Those are the ones that have a lot of proving to do from the bull case. But if we see bullish performance, those are the types of days and sessions that can be much stronger than what we've experienced. So that's kind of our overview from a sector performance area. One thing will want to call out for later today, if we look at our economic calendar on Trading Terminal, what you'll notice is as we go into the afternoon session, we do have our 3-week delayed FOMC minutes. So these are minutes from the previous meeting. Usually not a big market mover, but it is something that if there is maybe some additional key information, the market may respond short term to it. But you're often not going to get the types of rallies when you have a fresh meeting and the press conference that follows thereafter. Just speaking on Fed and some of the Fed fund rate predictions, we're looking out in June at this point. So, another 20 days or so, plenty of time for this to change. Right now, the assumption is that we're looking at another 50 basis point hike. It's about 94% probable, and the market is pricing towards that. However, there is a little bit of disrespect in regards to what has been a confirmed no 75-point basis hike. Market pricing is actually disagreeing with that slightly. They're putting a little bit of that risk into their pricing model. And what that means is there is a potential surprise of a 75-point basis hike based on BPS, based on what the Fed fund futures are saying. So this tool is really easy to get this information. Remember, you can also just look at the futures contracts. It's a little bit harder to read because you have to kind of understand the disparity between what numbers are showing and what that means from a probability perspective. So I highly recommend just using this tool and obviously just getting a sense of what the market is pricing. We're definitely not in any higher risk of a 75 point, but monitoring the changes, especially as we get closer, this could easily increase in probability. So, all right, I think that's pretty much it for me today. There is anything you'll want to take a look at, any questions, I'll leave it open to the room. We normally do this on Thursday, but bit of a less impactful week, so not as much to discuss and cover. Let's see. Any tickers, questions? Look at Target. So let's look at Target and let's have an idea of another name and what it did. So let's look at Walmart as well. So, similar collapses in these stocks. I would argue that Walmart at least gave us a multi-day continuation, whereas Target literally just ended below its support, its swing low support. Some things you're looking at here, probably the 200 weekly. It's more of an oversold play, and you definitely just want to play it short term. But 200 weekly and any sort of bullish daily structure can lead us back to just testing out these areas. How would you model that? Similar to Walmart, you need to kind of have your low established, and you can sell premium here, or you could look a little bit bullish, maybe targeting some key price. Usually you want to do something like a butterfly or something that's going to expand. That way you don't worry about how the price gets there. You just worry about the price getting there by a certain time. So butterflies, ratios tend to work well. Something that's more of an expanding option play. That's how I would view Target until we get more information, because this is fresh. I mean, we've only had 5 days past its earnings, so it's very fresh in regards to the price activity. Tesla, this is one of our key risk areas for the discretionary sector. You look at how far this has sold, and then you look at how far Tesla has provided that sell-off, and you can understand that along with Amazon, they're both hitting relative extremes in regards to their sell-off. Doesn't mean that it's going to bounce anytime soon. In fact, I'm actually looking to see when would be a good time to consider a bounce. And if we just view this as, okay, this did break down, let's look at this high to low, and the breakdown expansion puts us probably back towards our weekly 200. It's not going to get there probably in a straight shot, and it might not get there. But if I'm looking at the technicals, what's really going to stop it from getting there? There's a lot of chop and price activity here. We'll have to kind of drill through that at some point. And if the market sentiment changes, then this can kind of become a change thesis. But really, the relative low support is a little bit lower. So definitely wanting to get below 600, try and get this as extreme as possible, and then look for that technical bounce that can offer really good risk to reward. Hopefully back to the 700, and ideally back to the 20 period on the daily. So let's see. Could you look at Meta? So Meta had its shakeup from the Snapchat debacle. Look at this kind of as if this has been indecisive for a long time. I know I have my horizontal lines, but you can also kind of view this as, well, there really hasn't been a lot of trend. So you have a breach here, you have a lower high, you have a higher low, you have a lower high, higher low, lower high, centered around that 200. And then all of a sudden you get a crack right here. So, my thought about this is it's a surprise move away from a balanced area. It's not as confirmed as it needs to be, but short term right now, we need to respect the fact that we're below a lot of the trade at this balance area. The only people who have any profit in Facebook are the people who bought on this day. Think about it that way. If you've owned Meta, the only time you've owned it and been profitable over this earnings reaction has been on this day, the earnings itself. So it's not a good look for Meta, and it's definitely a weaker sector. If we get back into balance, go back to 200. And that's usually where you're going to see your volume profile just stand out like a sore thumb. I mean, look at the shelf here. We're talking about anywhere from 200 to 207. It's oversold when you get below. It's overbought when you get above, and then you get your gap. So there really isn't a lot to this stock except for the short-term trade. I call it dead money because it's balanced. It's not moving. It's a bit of dead money. Okay. That's pretty much it. So thanks, everybody. We'll do this again tomorrow for some other tickers. And as always, stay tuned for pre-market prep. Have a great trading session, and we'll talk more then.
All right, good morning, guys. Hopefully, you guys can hear me okay. Want to do a quick sound check. Hey, brother, I do hear you. I'm not sure if the
We
chat
don't
could hear us, though.
have audio in the room though. Can you hear us in the room? Yep, they can apparently.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So I'm not seeing the bars, but it looks like they can. Okay, sweet. All right, guys, apologies for all the delays here. We're using one computer for the streaming, and I guess last night we did a couple of things that might mess me up a little bit for this morning. We're a little bit light. Okay, I can turn my gain up a little bit. This mic is not the best, so if it gets too distorted, let me know. Okay, I'm turning it up now a little bit more. Hopefully, what about there? Yeah, I don't want to blow out anybody's ears so early in the morning. Okay.
Yeah, you're all right. It's worthwhile. We're late, so let's roll.
Yep. Yep. All right. Let's see here, guys. The screen on the browser is still turning here, so it's not showing on our chat, unfortunately.
You're not
Um,
showing on YouTube either.
YouTube, but they're able to see the scanners, though, right?
Scanners. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. So here
scanners.
we are. Yep. No, that's good. All right, we just can't get it. For some reason, we can't get this in our chat room for whatever reason. It's not working. But, guys, we'll get going here. Guys, welcome to the pre-market prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hope you had a great day yesterday. And what a hell of a day has it been in the market. If we take a look quickly here, let's go right to the SPY, Norm, and just kind of see what's going on there with the overall market and the way things have been. And if you guys missed it, guys, Artie and Andrew are live every afternoon at around 3:30. It's going to be Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, providing some really good content. So make sure you're catching up on those videos. But let's go straight to the overall market. Let me bring in our market information here, and then we can get started there.
Yeah, rough day yesterday, especially in social media and some tech stuff. We'll see what we do today. Um, let's see. Right now, down almost just shy of 0.5% on the SPY, a little bit more on Nasdaq. We've got a couple of tickers as we wind down earnings season, and yeah, what do we have today? We've got oh man, I somehow that didn't get updated properly, so I apologize for that. Durable goods orders, core capital equipment orders came out right when we were trying to get fired up and we're having tech problems. They came out a little bit weaker than expected. Vice President, Fed Vice Chairman speaking at a commencement address at 12:15. Don't see anything really with that. However, 2 p.m. this afternoon, FOMC minutes will come out. Those are the minutes from the meeting 2 weeks ago. So that might lend a little clarity on what the voting members are thinking. Could have an influence on the market later today. So.
All right, excellent. We'll see how that's going to turn out. It definitely has not been short and interesting, this market, as you guys very well know. So, all right, let's get to it, guys. Let's take a look at our gappers list this morning. We have a couple of things here in the green and in the red. Not a whole lot. Actually, and I got this backwards. Hold on a second. Let's not confuse you guys. Let's put this the way it goes. This goes here, and that goes there. There we go. So a couple of things in the green, a couple of things in the red. Some names that
You're
we
not
know
showing your
very.
screen, buddy.
Oh, excuse me. There we go. So some names that we do know, like Billy, JWN, I think is Nordstrom. We got DKS, I think is Dick's Sporting Goods. I don't know the other names on here, but some pretty interesting. It looks like more earnings, these type of names. They usually don't come up here unless they have some kind of earnings, but we'll see what's going on. Let's pop up here with WEN this morning. They are up 9.1, 453,000 shares traded. Good pre-market activity. Let's check the daily, see how this looks. Nice little pop here. For the most part, they don't get great volume, guys. You can tell here they're very light on volume. Just one day here popping up to 10 million, which is again for the type of way we trade is not a whole lot, but could be interesting. We'll take a
Yeah, so
control A.
there's not a takeover bid on the table, but
Mm-hmm.
potential activist investor actions toward a takeover of some sort. So it could get busy. Wendy's could get busy
All right, excellent.
later.
So we'll
We'll
have
see.
we'll have Wendy's here as a possible. We'll see how it goes. Pre-market, guys, looking really good right now. If that can continue, this could be a good one for today. Spread is looking okay, so not bad. Next, we have Nordstrom on here, and these guys are actually up. They're up 4.4705 so far this morning. Norm, I'm assuming earnings as well.
They had earnings last night. They were a little bit better than expected. but on the revenue, and I think their guidance was a little bit stronger than people had expected as well.
Okay. So yeah, usually they don't trade well, but this morning again, that pre-market also looking interesting at least. So let's put them on here. JWN again, not the best trading stock there is. Here's Billy, which we know very well at the moment. I mean, they're up 3%, not a whole lot of volume. I do like their daily here. They known to trade well. I'll put them up there for now. We'll come back to that one. And then we have Lee here. Lee is up 2.5, 333,000. Also looking a little bit active towards the upside. Not a whole lot going on at the moment in this watch list, Norm. So it's pretty light for today, given I think the way expecting some numbers or whatever the case may be. We have FOMC meetings today, right, or tomorrow?
No, not a meeting. It's the minutes from
yeah.
the previous meeting 2 weeks ago.
Yep. So we'll see how that is going to play out. Usually when you have that, the stock market tends to be a little bit quiet or choppy. Just kind of wait to see what's going to happen. DKS here, we are down 12.3, 1.7 million. Oh, why are we getting that?
What's that?
I'm getting some audio on my end. Hold on a second. I'm getting a sound here. Okay, there we go. All right, so we're restreaming. Peter's restreaming the chat. But Peter, I think you can turn off the actual mic because they can hear my voice in the chat. You just got to put on the screen. Thanks, man. All right, so we should be all good, guys. Confirm audio is good on YouTube and on the chat. Okay, no sound.
Just go to YouTube, guys. Fuck.
Yeah. Lost sound with Peter. Okay, I'm not sure what happened. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. Sorry about that, guys. All right, let's go here to DKS this morning. Again, they are up 12.7, down 12.7. This is looking very good this morning. Great volume, 1.7. Looks pre-market earnings this morning. DKS.
Yeah, Dick's had earnings. Brutal, and they're getting slammed on it. Down almost 13% right now.
Yeah, it was even worse earlier today, down at 57. It's the low of the pre-market. So again, not looking pretty good for these guys right now. Here is ASO. So ASO this morning, they're down 9.1. I've seen this one before. It doesn't trade very well, very light on volume. So even though they're gapping down 9.1 with 157, I'm not a big fan. I'll put it on here so in case anybody wants to throw it out and look at it closer, we can look at it a little bit later. But for the most part, they don't trade well at all. Here is SI.
And it's sympathy on Dick, so go to the real source.
Okay. So if that's the case, yeah, I'm not going to bother with that. If they don't have their own thing, we'll go with Dick's. I think that's the one to go with today. Here is SIGA this morning. These guys we've seen in the past, and a couple of days actually, they've been very, very active. You can see here the ramp up in volume. So again, I don't know if it's a low float, right? Are they low float? No, they're 41, so not low float, but lower price. You got to be very careful. The way this thing is moving lately, $9 to 12, gapped up to 15, and the drop to 11, and then down to 8. So you can tell this thing is moving very aggressively. The fun might be over here, so we're just kind of losing all the gains for the last couple of days. Be very, very careful. I'm gonna drop this one down.
So are you saying we're not gonna have a monkeypox disaster? We're not gonna continue on the fun of the last 2 years with something that gives you a terrible skin appearance as well?
We don't need that, man. We just don't need that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Nobody got time for that. Absolutely. So that's what we have, guys. Norm, anything you like on your end this morning so far?
Actually, BBY doesn't quite have the volume yet, but they are down 4% this morning. I anticipate they will get the volume once we open. They're noisy, so sometimes that does that, but we had the big drop a couple days ago.
Yep.
And everything else, so it looks like it's in play. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. It's a quiet morning right now. I think we'll get some action. I just don't know that we're gonna see it here in the next few minutes. So
understood. Well, we'll put it on here because we don't have a whole lot to watch today anyway, so we have room. We can put this on our main list, and I like the way BBY trades when it is in play, guys. It can trade very well. So we'll see where this goes today. I love the daily too. We're trying to hold above this 70, but again, it has not been looking good. There's a lot of support happening there. Let's see if that can hold. All right, let's take it to the chat. Starting here with our chat room. What do you guys like this morning? Let's take a look. ASO, DKS. We have both of those. Well, ASO, we're gonna keep DKS instead. Futu, FU2U is what we need now. They're not in play, obviously, so we're just joking there. CCL, Michael. You know, these travel companies, they've been just, not doing well, obviously, with the overall market. Look at CCL, guys, down to 1169 from just consolidating above 20 and just losing it the last couple of days. So just following the overall market. The airlines are doing the exact same thing. American Airlines yesterday hitting that 15 there. So it has not been pretty. I don't know if they're actually in play. I think they're just following whatever the market is doing. So if the market continues to leak the way it has been, these guys are going to follow suit. So this morning they do have a little volume better than usual, so I think it's worth keeping a close eye on it. I agree with you there. Their volume is a little bit higher, over at 687,000, so that's pretty good. XOM, again, I'd rather watch Oxy, guys, instead of XOM. That's just my preference, but yeah, a good one to have on deck too. Overall market stuff there. Facebook, what is Facebook up to? How is the social media stuff after yesterday? We'll take a look at Snap next. Here is Facebook, pretty quiet right now. Again, big gap down yesterday with a lot of the social media stuff. Could be interesting today for a follow-through play. Right now, it's not doing anything great, so I'm just going to put them down as a possible. Let's take a look at Snap. Did Snap hit zero? Not yet. It is hanging around. It is hanging around up 1% this morning after just a massacre yesterday, guys. Look at the volume, 286,000. Yeah, wow, just insane. I think we probably ended up losing 50% on this, right? I know it was 33, and we just kept dropping. Man, 3 million shares here, guys. This thing is definitely active. I think it'll be worth keeping a close eye on. I don't know what we're going to get today. Is there any strength in this left? Is the bleeding done? Who knows? But I like the way Snap might be for today as a potential. Nvidia reports after the close. So I think after the close tomorrow is when we're going to have fun with this one. Overall, still a good stock to watch. I see a little bit of activity here, 885,000. Let's keep an eye on that and see how that goes. So that'll be good. And then that reminds me of Apple. Which is consolidating here, man. Apple, I don't think doesn't want to sell off anymore. There's Apple. What's the other one we like? AMD. Again, just kind of both moving a little bit sideways here. So some good ones to keep later on. I'm not going to add them to the list. Those will be good for scanners at the moment. All right, let's take a look over in our YouTube chat. My friends, what do you guys like this morning? I like BBY today, Triple D. Yes, I agree. Phil, CCL. Yes, CCL is good. Indigenous Pathways, Neo has decent volume. Let's take a look at that one. Neo this morning. What do we have going on here? Not loading. There it is. Yeah, 732,000. Yeah, that's decent volume on SSR. Had a bit of a rough day yesterday. Daily looks good. Yeah, I like the activity on it. It was green, red, now back to green. That's a good price action so far this morning. I like that. So we'll definitely keep an eye on Neo this morning. Let's head on down. AMD. Yeah, AMD and Apple. I mean, we can add these two. Yeah, we can add them. I know we're going to probably be looking at them. AMD. Let's move this Ziga down because that's a risky one. We got to be very careful today with that one. And we'll put AMD on here because these two are going to be better than some of the possibles I have on here. Like, JWM actually looks good today, but who knows how good they're going to trade. And Wendy, I don't know. We'll have to see at the market open. But Apple and AMD, at least as a possible, have to be on your list. I agree with that. I actually have Nvidia up on my main list, Ben. So I think Nvidia daily looks very good. They got some good pre-market activity. They got earnings coming up tonight after hours. Usually after earnings is when they're really good. But with the way this market has been, I think Nvidia can provide some stuff for us today. Even so. Right. Anything else, guys? Anything else we have? US. Oh, that's oil. US. Oh, I think it's oil, right? United States. Yeah. So this one is an ETF type thing. Listen, it's not leveraged, right? No, it's not leveraged. I'd rather watch Oxy. XOM are going to move a whole lot better with more volume, especially Oxy. So I'd rather do that. I think you can have better plays and opportunities on something like that. But again, it depends on your trading style. If this is your style, you can definitely look at that as well. See a couple of you guys throwing out AEO. What's going on here? Matthew, AEO. Let's see. AEO. What is this?
American Eagle.
American Eagle. Oh yeah, they don't trade well. Very light on volume, and I'm not seeing them in play today. Did they have earnings or something? Because they have nothing going on
They
right now.
did a couple of days ago, I thought.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, yeah, they did a couple of days ago. So, or no, May. What day is today?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay. So
They
maybe
moved. They were
tomorrow.
on the gappers list in the last couple of days, but it must have been a sympathy new move. I thought they had their own catalyst, but I remember seeing them on the gappers. No, they got a downgrade out of Citi. That's what they're
Oh,
with a
okay. That's what they're in
huge
the
price
news.
target reduction. That's what it was.
Mhm.
That was 2 days ago.
All right. So definitely that's not helping them out there at all, guys. All right. Let's go. We'll stop here. I think we got plenty this morning. Let's take a look here at our announcements, community events, and what's coming
Before
up.
you do that, go to
Yeah,
the
sure.
admins tab and pull the link
Oh,
that I
sweet, sweet.
gave you.
Let's do that.
This
Admins tab.
I've found Megan's birthday present for last year for next year. Excuse me.
Oh, looking
Unfortunately,
forward
it's a
to
long
this.
way away.
When is her birthday, by the way?
It's
We
in
gotta note that
March.
down. March. Oh, we gotta wait all that time, huh? That's all right.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and bring
You
this
know
up
what?
here.
You're not going to be able to access it. I don't think.
Oh
Anyway,
yeah.
disregard. But
We'll,
that's
we'll
all
we'll
right.
we'll get it tomorrow. Give me a screenshot tomorrow. We'll have it. We'll get it ready
Okay,
for
I
tomorrow.
will. I
We can't
will.
leave our people
My
hanging like that.
my wife found that. She's like, "What the hell?" She's like, "You got to come in here and see this."
Oh, we're definitely gonna bring that back.
Yeah. I
All right,
will,
guys. Let's get to our community events and announcements. Gonna bring this over. Sorry for the
There
slowness,
you
but
go. Megan just put up the image.
oh, she did. All right, let's go. 1 second here. Let's
Yeah.
bring this up. So Megan is aware of her GIF. I like that. Megan is aware.
Steakums is making sheets that look like meat and apparently smell like meat.
Oh
I
my
don't.
goodness.
I don't.
My goodness.
That's
That is
disturbing.
that is very disturbing. But a good way to
Anyway.
start this morning. All right, guys, let's get to our community events and announcements, and
Anyway,
hopefully you can get
it's
that
truly disturbing.
picture of your mind.
I'll see if I can find the article and show you guys. It was pretty funny. Anyway, my wife's in the advertising business, so she saw that and something. All right. Let's see here. Onboarding every Monday night, 7 p.m. with Carlos. It's available for all members, regardless of your status. And then, sorry, I can't do this with you doing like that because there's a lag both places.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to have to roll it at my own. Every Tuesday night, there is no Monday next week. It's Memorial Day. Markets close. You won't be doing onboarding. Do you know if you'll be doing that Tuesday or anything, Carlos?
Yeah, we probably will schedule it for Tuesday.
Okay.
Yep.
Tech webinar next, not next Monday, but the following is Bookmap Part 1 with Kyle. Next Tuesday, 5 p.m., trend trading with Eamon strategy. And then tonight, Randy Howell, 8 p.m. Eastern, building winning mindset, winning trading psychology mindset. It's been a while since we've had Randy. Excellent trading coach and trading psychologist. And then next week, Dr. Kenneth Reed, part of his Mastermind Pro Series. Thursday, mentorship at 11 with John, 4 with Ed, 8 with Thor. Don't forget about stockmarketsimulator.com, where you can go and sign up and trade our free web-based replay simulator. And also, if you're watching on YouTube and you haven't been in the chat, you can use the promo code PreMarket24 on the intro membership to get a discount off that. It doesn't auto-renew or anything.
All right, thank you very much, Norm. All right, guys, let's get to our list this morning. Let's bring this over here and see what we got going on. So far, guys, we have Billy, we have DKS, we have BBY, which I like this morning, which had a little bit more volume, but I do like the daily setup on this. We have Oxy, which again, can't really, as we mentioned in the past plenty of times, you can't really gauge it by the pre-market because this thing is going to get the volume, so we'll have to wait a little bit here. We have Nvidia, which actually is looking pretty good, good volume, about to hit 1 million here. So this is trading very nice this morning. So good activity there. You can see that in the price action as well. And then we have NEO also very active with 766 there as well, also having some good action on NEO. So I think both of those look really good this morning. Some possibles: we have Lee, we have Wendy's, we have Nordstrom, which are actually looking good today. CCL, starting to pick up some volume here. We have a couple of other I like Snap. I'm gonna move Snap up. I just want to have a close eye on that one to see what that does today. So I'm gonna remove it from our secondary list, but we'll keep it here in our main list. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just one too many, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. And then I'm probably gonna make room for Apple or AMD. I think it's just a couple of things we can watch today here. And actually, pardon me, guys. I know I'm changing a few things here, but as I'm going through this, I look at Billy and I just don't see it being better than like an Apple, right? So we got to be picky here. I'm gonna bring Apple up. I'm gonna take Billy off the list. And there we go. I think that's much better. I think Billy has potential, but I know that ticker, so I'll wait for that ticker to hit the scanners and we can take advantage. And then we have SIGA here, which again has decent volume, has been insane, but be careful with this one. Short selling restriction today, down 3.4 after leaving 15 now at $8. So you can tell how aggressive that is moving. All right, let's get some levels in here. DKS, we'll start there. We're going to go ahead and get our line. So let's start with low of the pre-market. We're looking at 57 is the low of the pre-market. The high of the pre-market pretty much stuck between the highs and lows of the last 2 trading days. So don't need to do a whole lot there. You're all set. Let's head to the left here. What do we have? Do we got to go on a weekly? We might need to go on a weekly here. Yeah, I think we got to go on a weekly. Yes, weekly, because we have not been down here since 2020. Looks like July. Maybe, yeah, July, September, oh, maybe December. So we got a little bit of stuff going on here. Right now the price action is sitting right at a level on the weekly, so I'm going to mark that down. This is going to be this level right over here, so we'll put one level there. 62.76 is good, and then above that you have your highs and lows of the last 2 trading days. You do have an area here. 66.81 looks pretty decent as well. I'm going to mark that too. So 66.80. 66 might actually be 67. Might actually be 67. So there you go. You have a couple of days opening, closing weeks, using that as support there. So that looks pretty good as far as that. So we are all set. We got a level towards the bottom here on DKS right now, bouncing back from the lows of the pre-market at 56.80. Again, very active today, guys. 2.8 million shares traded. This thing's having a little action this morning. BBY, I like the daily on BBY, guys. Just going sideways here for a little bit, trying to hold above this 69. It does need more volume. We understand that. But again, these NYSE stocks, right? BBY is on the NYSE New York Stock Exchange. They tend to not have explosive volume pre-market, right? And not all of them, not always. If the news is big enough, you're going to get the volume. But for the most part, they tend not to be like some of the stocks that are sitting in the NASDAQ exchange, right? So let's give it a little space here. Let's see what it can do after bell. I do like the levels of support we have here. We're stuck between the highs and lows of the last 2 trading days. A breakout here in any direction could be really good. I'm a little short bias on it because I think we have less congestion towards the bottom if we lose these levels. And just in case we do that, I'm just gonna go to the weekly. Let's see what we have. When's the last time we were down here? It's been a while. We're looking at 2020 February, March, April time frame, right? So it's been a minute since we've been down here. We're gonna mark down 60. This is not too strong. Remember, this is a weekly, so on a weekly you want to see even more levels hanging out there. But this one here, you do have a possible at 64. Clearly, this right here is a good level, 51. I don't think we're going to get there today. Obviously, that's a stretch. But 51 right here, you got a level of good support over a couple of days there. And then here, this is a minor one as well, 62, 56.22. I won't put a whole lot on there. Just a couple of touches on there on the weekly. So there you have it, guys. A little bit towards the bottom there. We have not been down here in a while. So this is your 52-week low, which is going to be really interesting. This area you're seeing here, this is your 52-week low we're trying to hold. So let's see if support can come through here for the bulls. Again, I'm a little short bias on it because I think that's the path of least resistance, which can possibly give you a better run. Looking at Oxy here, guys, again, can't do too much with the pre-market. It's not going to give you a whole lot of information. But at the moment, they're just trying to set this new range, right? We talked about this. They're trying to stay above 62.87, which was previously a great area of resistance. We broke out a few times and slammed back down. 2 weeks ago, we broke out of that, and we're trying to maintain above that. If we can get back up to 70, that would be very nice here. if we can do that. So we'll have to see how that's going to play out. For the most part right now, it's quiet, but the market open, we'll see how that does. And overall, this ticker and many oil type tickers like XOM, like USO, which again doesn't move a whole lot, you're going to get much better volume on something like this. Give me 1 second, guys. I think Andrew's trying to get in. Hold on a second. All right, guys. I had to let the boss in the building. All right, guys, let's get to it. So we left off here with Oxy. So Oxy is my favorite one. That's the one I like. So I'll keep an eye on that one. Next, we have Nvidia. Nvidia has a good pre-market activity, guys. They're down 1% right now, and almost 1 million shares traded. So they got really good volume. Earnings coming up after hours. So that's going to be interesting as well. I'm going to mark down just the low of the pre-market right now. I'm going to mark the low and the high of the pre-market. So we'll do this one here and this one here. Oh, hold on. Right up here. So we have high of the pre-market 163.24 and the low is 159.05. So once you put those two there, you're pretty much set. You got some really good levels here. Now this is a good area of support, guys. We've been trying to hold this. We bounced off of this on May 12th. We see the bounce there. We're back at it the last couple of days using that as support. And we know Nvidia has had just an incredible run alongside a lot of tech companies. You know, you had Apple, you have AMD, all of these had it's just an amazing run. But at Nvidia, I think it's been one that has really ran out pretty well. Last time we were down here was December 2021, January, February, March, maybe April. Yeah, around that time frame. We have a couple of the weeklies on here. We're going to mark down some levels. We're going to put down here 150 is good. We're going to mark down another one here is pretty good. 140-ish. You see that there as well. Tons of stuff happening here on these couple of days as resistance and some more support happening there. So I think we're pretty set. Again, 139. It's a stretch. Maybe after, you know, those levels are going to be very important after earnings tonight. Is it tonight, Nvidia? Let me make sure. After earnings tonight, those are going to be very important because you might get that kind of type of range this evening. So after hours today, yeah. So it's going to be very interesting, guys. Check out Ed's room. So Ed is probably going to, I'm sure, is going to be trading earnings on Nvidia. Nvidia is going to be on his list and any other notable earnings are happening today. So around 3:30, well, 3:30 first, we're going to go live here with Andrew and Artie. So they'll be live for the close. For the closing bell, and then after that, I'm sure Ed will be getting ready to trade the earnings. So I'm sure he's gonna have this one on his list. Definitely be on the lookout. Snow has earnings today. Is that another good one, Sam? Snow. I think Snow is very light, right, on volume. Yeah, it's very light on volume for the most part. But again, during earnings is a whole different animal. So I'm sure that will probably be on his list as well because it's a ticker that I've seen people trade. I don't trade it much though. They don't get the best volume, but definitely one you want to have on deck. All right, we left off with NEO now. So looking at NEO, beautiful pre-market activity, guys. We're up 1.4, 807,000 shares traded here. This looks good. I'm gonna mark down the high of the pre-market over here at all the way at 1513. So that's good. Oh, hold on a second. Let's get our. Here we go. 1513 is good. Low of the pre-market down to 1456, so that's good as well. We're gonna mark that right there, and I think you're set. You got good support happening here, good resistance in the past around this 1457, which is the low of the pre-market. So that'll be nice. Also, I'm a little short biased because again, if you go short here, if it runs weak on the weaker side, you have more room to run, right? So it's less congestion down that way. But either way, they have great volume today, long or short. I think this can provide us some good opportunities today. Here is Snap, guys. Looking forward to see, is Snap going to show any strength for us today? Right now up about 2%. Again, not going to put a whole lot of weight on that just yet. Market open, we start getting the volume coming in heavily. That's going to be interesting as well. Right now, they are up 2% with 3.5 million shares traded after just a massacre. What was the last gap down on this, guys? Was it 50%? I know they were down 33% or so pre-market. I don't know what they ended up with, but man, it is not looking pretty for them at all. Or any social media stocks. Facebook I have on the list as a possible. That's another one as well. It's not doing well. Gap down yesterday, and again, this is after a massive gap down not so long ago. Damn, doesn't seem so long ago, but this was February. Time is flying, my friends. February, huge gap down, and it has not recovered ever since. So Facebook is on our secondary list. It doesn't have great volume when we looked at it, but now it's starting to pick up a little bit. So it might be one that we might take a closer look at. But Snap is definitely the one that has the stories a little bit more interesting at the moment. So we're going to have this one on deck. Looking at our high of our pre-market is 1313. So we'll slam a level there. 1313 is good. And then towards the bottom, when was the last time we were down here? I'm sure we got to go to the weekly because it's been some time. Yes, it has a 2020 February, April time frame. So right in here on the weekly 1116. Again, I don't know how much weakness or downside we have left on Snap, but who knows. And then the lowest we went on 2020 was 794. So again, that's a stretch, but the way they traded yesterday, anything is possible. All right, last one on our list is Apple. Again, Apple's just overall fun to watch, guys. You know how active this thing has been, up and down. It gets the volume. Already we have 1.9 million shares traded. There might be a couple of block trades here, but even so, pre-market, if you look at the action, is looking very good as well and very active. I love the daily. We're trying to hold this 137.44 here. We'll see what the market has to say about that when it opens up. What is the SPY doing right now, by the way? Take a quick snapshot of the SPY at the moment. Down slightly, not a whole lot on the weaker side of things, but we're not gapping down 3 to 5%. So that is positive. If you wake up and the SPY is not gapping down 2 to 3%, we're in good shape. So some levels here on the SPY that we're trying to hold. Let's see how this is going to end the week. It's going to be interesting, I got to tell you that. But Apple's a good one to watch. If you're watching Apple, Nvidia, and any of these other tech companies, AMD, you got to keep an eye on this overall SPY because I think that's going to determine a lot what these companies do. Right now, Andrew talked about this yesterday in the webinar. If you missed it, the recording will be available today. He talked about how to find stocks in play and how the market is a catalyst right now. We've been saying that, right? You don't need a specific company catalyst at the moment. The market is the catalyst, and a lot of these companies that get great volume that can be moved by the market are trading very, very well. And he has some great examples yesterday of trades that he did, some recaps. So definitely check out the webinar. It should be in the education center, if not already by today noon time. So all right, guys, we are set. We have DKS, BBY, Oxy, Nvidia, Neo, Snap, and Apple. A couple of possibles here. Lee, Wendy, Nordstrom actually are, for the way these typically trade today, they look very, very good. I think it might be worth keeping a close eye on them. CCL, it's got a pop here. It's got a little bit of volume. I just don't know how well it's going to trade today. So we have it as a possible. And of course, Facebook and AMD are some good potentials to back up our Snap, to back up our Apple and our Nvidia tickers up here. So I don't think you need to have all of these on your main list, but if you're trading Apple, think about AMD. If you're trading Snap, think about Facebook. All right, we are set, guys. 9:15 Eastern time. Let's take a look at our moderators lineup, see what we have going on over here. We'd love to see what our moderators are looking at this morning. I'm just going to resize this here so you guys don't get a mirror effect. As I am doing this, please hit that thumbs up over on YouTube. We appreciate it very much. It does help out the channel a ton. And if you're enjoying the content, show your support. Appreciate that. Here is our moderators lineup. Let's get going here with Mike. So Mike is looking at DKS, Facebook, and Apple. Peter reporting just one IPO maybe this time, and what he means by that is we've been reporting these IPOs, but they actually end up not opening, right? So they either get pushed back or whatever the case may be. We're seeing a lot of that now, and it's probably because who wants to open an IPO when the market is just leaking, right? You probably don't want to do that. So not a great time to be opening IPOs. Peter's list AMD, DKS, Apple. Secondary list Twitter, Nordstrom there, JWN, and Snap. Thor's list Apple, Wendy's, Snap, and the overall market. And secondary, he'll be watching the bot alerts from Twitter. If you haven't signed up yet, Thor will send out the address to that, the handle to that. Dima will be looking at DKS, Snap, AMD, and Apple. And Tiffany will be looking at DKS, Nvidia, and Snap. And Megan will be looking at Disney and PayPal this morning. Excellent, guys. We are all set. Actually, let's stick around for a little bit. Let's wait for Brian to send his list if he's ready. Brian and Andrew are up next, so we'll be transitioning over to them shortly here. So we'll see if Brian has his list ready. But guys, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it. Over on YouTube, we're going to continue in chat here. Oh, here's Andrew's list. He is wait, it's blank. He's watching nothing. He likes nothing today. It's blank. So we'll wait for his list to be thrown out there. Guys, remember, we're going live again over on YouTube. You make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can get notified 30 minutes before when we go live on YouTube. Artie and Andrew will be live in around 3:30 Eastern time, going over the overall market and just a lot of great insights and information, guys. And you can also come and ask questions. So if you have a question about the overall market, you want to ask Artie and Andrew, it is a perfect time to do so. Stocks in play today. So he's looking at DKS and the usual suspects, AMD, Nvidia, and TQQ this morning. All right, guys, take care over on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us, and we appreciate you guys being here. We know you have options, but the fact that you're hanging out with us really means a lot to us. So thank you so much for that, and we will see you again tomorrow at 8 a.m. Starting with engineering the markets, followed by Norm and I with the pre-market prep. So take care, guys, and trade safe.